are the urges that we need to suppress?
So the urges that we need to suppress mentally are those related to negative emotions. And the biggies are grief, anger, wrath, fear.
What was the third one?
Wrath, fear, anger, greed, grief, greed.
Oh, grief.
Greed.
What
Grief.
is that?
Grief. Grief as well. Like
Yeah.
grief, like I'm of a lost one.
Yeah.
That should be suppressed.
Yes. Yes. We live in the present. You mourn for the deceased, for the loved ones, but mourning has a beginning and an end.
Oh, okay.
So one thing is to express what you have inside, but not lingering on it, because lingering on it is just your ego playing the victim game. Jealousy, excessive desire, all these things, any negative emotion at this point would be considered something that can be repressed. Orally, we were talking before about speaking the truth and all that. Well, in this case, we can actually, although it's so difficult to stop gossiping, right? Although it's so difficult, I know. But it's one thing of speaking harsh words to others, even though sometimes we have that urge. When we were talking about righteousness and all those things, trying to tell people what to do, punishment, we use big, harsh words. Backbiting would be these two. Lying would be in these, including lying, yeah, because that's something we can prevent. But it's hard, it's an urge sometimes, and people are compulsive liars. So it's just a mechanism that's working there. So all these things can be actually taken care of. And finally, we have in terms of deeds, and there, for example, desire towards or attraction, sexual attraction to other women beyond your partner, okay, or it says women in Hindu, no, that's everything, or men, whatever.
So being like covetous.
Yes. Violence, hostility, what else? Theft, ill treatment of others. All these things, you may think about it right now and say, well, those are like, yeah, but many people have that. They cannot stop themselves from mistreating employees, for example, or going to the supermarket and stealing something, or from, just looking at your friend's wife, whatever, or husband or whatever, So this happens very, very commonly.
What about addictions?
Addictions are hard to deal with. Addictions is a condition, not an urge. It's a condition. It's a medical condition, actually, not an urge. But I would say that escapism could be controlled.
What's that?
When you try to escape reality, either by shooting heroin or by doing yoga like crazy. I said this because yoga has become a way of escapism in our society.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, many people are living just for their yoga. And it's not even spiritual. It's just to go to that yoga class. Because in that yoga class they escape from the reality. And for them not to go to that yoga class is like hell. They will just leave the kids without having dinner just to go to the class. I have a client like this. She says, no, you don't touch my 6 o'clock class. I just leave whatever and just leave. I don't want to know anything. I just leave them with whatever. I'll deal with it when I come back. And it's impossible for her to just not go there. Why? It's a form of escapism. Okay, has become a new drug. It's very interesting. Those of you who are yoga teachers, you will see you have clients like this. You have students that go there, and yoga is everything, and they talk like this. Yoga is everything to me now. But what yoga we're talking about? You're coming here and you're doing an hour of asana. Is that everything to you in life? Do we have a problem here? I think we have a problem here. And I think yoga as a path, as a way, as a way of understanding life and committing yourself fully percent. Right? Good for you. But anything else? Exercise is the same thing.
Isn't that like an obsessive, compulsive behavior?
I think it's more like escaping. It's more like escaping. They can't stop that. The moment they face reality and they self-empower them and they see that this is something that they can do, blah blah blah, there's not more obsession there. It happens a lot with women. This yoga thing is a lot of women with this thing. The guy goes to the gym. That's the other one. The guy is the gym rat. And many of them are escaping reality too. Okay? Or trying to change the appearance of reality. To make a change because they think that that's going to bring something different in them. We're trying to gain self-confidence in many ways. Okay? So I'll wrap up with, of course, I think this is Charaka too. The virtuous person who suppresses all the above bad urges relating to mind, speech, and physical actions is happy, and he alone enjoys the fruits of Dharma and Artha. And Kama. Yes. The fruits of Dharma, good deeds, Artha, wealth and prosperity, and Kama, desire and wish. So this is important. And as you can see, all these urges that we're talking about repressing has to do so much with Sattvrita, with that mental health, basically. Mental and spiritual, it's both. Okay. So, the last thing we have for this lesson is etiology of disease. Etiology, do you guys know what etiology means? Etiology means the cause of disease. In medicine, the etiology is the cause. Even though in Western medicine we don't care too much about the cause these days, but in Sanskrit we call it hetu, H-E-T-U, hetu. Actually there are like, how many are there in Ayurveda? I think there are 20 hetu, H-E-T-U. I think there are 24 hetus in Ayurveda. It's a really complex thing. There's one of these books, I can't remember which one it is. One by, it's called Ayurveda, Nature's Medicine. And this one goes through all the hetus and everything, I think. I think it's that one.
We have that book.
I don't remember if it's that one. Or it's one of Vasan Lad's books. But it goes through the whole thing. But traditionally, Ayurveda just talks about 3 causes of disease. About 3 causes, 3 main causes of disease. Okay? And they're actually a little bit surprising. First of all this etiology of disease, for Ayurveda, everything is related to the doshas, to the humors. Okay? So the dosha is in balance, and that's the etiology of disease. And actually, this continued throughout history, because Hippocrates, who was the father of modern medicine in Greece, he talks about 4 humors. 4 humors. But Susruta does that too. Charaka is the one that talks about 3 doshas. Susruta talks about 4 doshas. The blood, Rakta, being the 4th dosha. That's the importance that Susruta puts into Rakta dosha and into Rakta Dhatu. He considers that the 4th dosha. For Charaka, it's just Vata Pitta
So the
Kapha.
Rakta Dhatu he considers to be the fourth dosha?
Yes, that's how important blood. And if you think about it, it is very important. Very, very important in most diseases. Hippocrates actually follows that, and he considers blood a humor. The others he called the black humor, and I think the yellow humor, and they're Vata Pitta Kapha, basically. Vata Pitta Kapha. So we have this tradition going on about the etiology of disease, okay? Until at one point we just forget about all this and we start talking about germs, about weather conditions, about whatever, you know. Before all this, before Ayurveda, the cause of disease etiology was normally connected to ill omens, to gods, to demons, to witchery, to all this stuff. That was for, I mean, Dark Ages, it was again the case, you know. It was again the case. So when we don't know, we just go to the superstition or whatever, you know, to see the etiology of disease. The day Western medicine starts looking for the cause of disease, and they have started doing that, they will come back to Ayurveda. 100%. 100%. Okay. Today, here, the cause of disease, the etiology, is summed up as infectious diseases, genetic, nutritional, immunological, metabolic, and cytological. So we're talking about things that are physical in nature, most of them. Things that are happening externally to us. Okay. So in Ayurveda, it's all, a lot of it is about our senses not being in line with nature. That's the cause of disease, basically. It's the senses. It's when we take in impressions and we don't, as we were talking before, we don't flow with them. We have a certain plan about what reality should be, and when what we see outside and we take the impression it doesn't conform with our sense of reality, then there's a clash and a stimuli starts happening, and then we go into disease. Things start debilitating, the immunological system, everything, and then we go into disease. So, for example, Susruta says that grief is the root of all diseases. Dukkha. Susruta says that dukkha is the root of all diseases. So we have to understand that if there is no dukkha, there is no disease. So if there is no grief, there is no disease, right? So, what is dukkha? What is grief? What do we consider as grief? And Charaka helps us here. He says, derangement of intellect, restraint and memory, advent of time and action, and contact with unsuitable sense objects should know as the cause of misery. And now we're going to see, this has exactly what we're going to see, like the three causes of disease. The first one is called Asammin Drigyartha Sanyoga.
Improper the use of the senses with the sense object.
Exactly.
Was it the second one? I think it was the second one.
yoga. Misuse of the five senses. Misuse of the five senses. Which can be three ways, can go three ways. Hita, underuse. Ani, overuse. And mitya, wrong use. Misuse of senses when aligning with their objects of perception. So let's try to understand this. Okay? What would be hina for hearing? Underuse.
Not enough, I don't know, not enough listening to something? Noise around?
It gets tricky. You know, one form of torture is to confine a person to a room with no sound. Silence can be hina. Speaking in a very low voice that is so hard to listen to. Having to strain all the time to listen to what's being said is hina. It will cause disease. That silence will cause disease, will cause tremendous pain in the nervous system, anxiety and whatnot. You see? That's a form of hina in the sense of hearing. What about the sense of
Can I add something to that?
Yes.
When I took my mom to the doctor, and she's very hard of hearing, the doctor told her that if she wasn't able to tolerate the hearing aids, that eventually she would get dementia from not having enough stimulus in the hearing.
There you go. There you go. Totally. What about in seeing? What would be hina, underuse?
Dark room, being in a dark room.
The same torture, or in prison. When somebody misbehaves in prison, they confine into this hole, and it's dark. That, it's not only that you lose your sight, it's also that it can be very deranging to your mental health. What would be touch?
Touch deprivement, you don't have to touch anything.
What happens to a baby when you don't touch it? Big problems, right? Tremendous problems throughout life. So lack of touch. What else do we have? Taste. That would be food that's tasteless, that's not well condimented, any of these things, okay? And the last one will be smell. That would be something like faint smells or overly pure, that we cannot, we're striving for that, okay? In ati, overuse of hearing. Super loud music, those speakers behind you in the concert and all that. Listening to, I don't want to say anything. Touch will be an overuse. This craving for constant touch, to be in touch all the time.
I have clients like that. They come every week or twice a week. I'm like, what are you doing here? You just got a massage. Get out of here. They just like being nurtured, whatever.
That would create
that person has issues.
Issues, of course.
Oh yeah. While you're doing the treatment, she's looking at you like this. She's like, not like, excuse me, you said something? She's like, no.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's very, I don't know. and then she'll just start talking to herself. I don't really like try and pay attention to what she says, but it's a little scary.
Vision, overuse, very bright lights, neon lights. These neon lights are killing us. Okay.
Computers.
And computers, reflections of all these devices, they're killing us. We all have, look, this is, I was 20/20, and vision, and because of this guy, look at this, you know, it's just the way it goes in this society, anyway. Taste, spicy food, very spicy food, which will create a lot of problems. For example, in India, in southern India, there are pile hospitals. You know what piles are? Hemorrhoids. They're pile hospitals. It's not a hospital where they treat piles. It's a pile hospital. When I saw it for the first time, I couldn't believe it, and there were like 20 in town. They're all sick of that because they eat so spicy food and it's so hot in there and so humid. So Nipita is in that hospital because it gets really bad, right? Because it's all year round, so they're bleeding like animals. Smells, ati, smell. Very strong perfumes, for example, or all these things we use to freshen up the houses and to clean with, and all these things, all those odors that are, you get in the elevator and it smells like, you know, plantation of rotten mangoes, and it's like, you know, just a thing. And then we have mitya, which is the misuse. In the misuse or abuse, in the hearing we have very harsh sounds, like the nail in this thing. That would be a very harsh sound. You see how constantly listening to that would make you. I remember when I was in high school, I punched a guy in the face because I couldn't stand that, and he knew it, and he was doing it all the time. And one day I went crazy. I almost killed him. But I was out of my mind. It drove me nuts. It drove me nuts with this thing. Okay. The touch, contaminated substances, acids, spores that are always hitting us, like boxing, for example. That could be an abuse of touch, you know. Vision, violent movies, reading in a car, reading in bed like this. You know that, right? You don't read like this. It will kill your vision. You will get glaucoma. You get off kind. If you do that, quit now because you will get all kind of problems. It's really bad. It increases the pressure in your eyes. You will end up with glaucoma or something like that. It strains the eyes very much. Taste, irritant substances, bad combinations. Fish with not just milk, like a sauce made out of cream, strawberries. I mean, it cannot get worse, but probably they are gonna find something worse than that. I mean, that's tastes that are so extreme combined that, of course, that causes a disease, the bad combination, wrong combinations in Ayurveda. And finally, we have the smell. Smelling gases, smelling pesticides, smelling obnoxious stuff, you know. That's, of course, the last one is the most detrimental, as you can see. But the others, if sustained, they will also create disease, much more often than we think, okay? So this is the first one. The second one, and this is the most important, Prajna Parada. Sins against the intellect. Sins against the intellect. 90% of disease comes from prajna parada. 90%. What is a sin against the intellect?
Smoking.
Totally.
Eating cupcakes.
Not totally.
Overeating.
Overeating is a sin against the intellect. Eating a cupcake is not. Eating a cupcake is living life.
What about like
Eating a dozen of cupcakes is prajna parada. All right. What else counts as prajna parada?
Pretty much anything that you know is not good for you.
but you do it
You do it anyways, because you like it.
Yeah.
Like drinking to get drunk.
Yeah.
But we're talking about things that are at the extreme end of this, or at what we as a society we see as wrong or bad.
Okay.
Now let's see what society agrees to and sees as normal, and it's prajna parada. I'm more interested in that. I know that you guys know you should not smoke or get drunk every day or whatever. What do we do that is sanctified by the society? And
Laying out in the sun, like at the beach sunbathing.
if you're pita in the summertime in Florida, yes, that's prajna parada.
But work.
Overworking
too much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's big prajna parada. Big prajna parada. Not sleeping because we have all these things to do. It's prajna parada. Not that you do it once a week, but you know what I'm talking about. Prajna paradas, as it was being said, is basically everything that you know is not good for you and you're still doing. And that's what creates a disease. If you look at the disease and you start going back and you start asking your clients, whenever a client comes to you and you say, how can I help you? What's wrong with you? And they say, I have eczema. The first question is, when did it start? Always. And they're going to say, oh, I don't know, in 2012. The next question is, what was happening in 2012? And you will always see what was the cause of eczema. Always. And you will always see the prajna parada was involved. I mean, you don't point it out to the person, so you're an idiot. No, you don't go into how intelligent you are, but that's going to give you the etiology of disease. And etiology of disease is the only way we can treat in Ayurveda. In Ayurveda, we treat the cause. So in order to treat the cause, we need to know what it is. Otherwise, it's going to be impossible. So we need to ask these questions. And we need to get to the root of it. And we need to see why the person was doing that. The deeper we get, the easier it will be. Okay. Otherwise, you're treating symptoms. And we're just doing the same thing allopathic doctors are doing. Instead of doing antibiotics, we use herbs, which is it's better. Because we don't have side effects. But, or not many. However, it's not the way Ayurveda is supposed to work. So there's only a pattern of behavior that needs to be changed in any client. And you need to point it out to some of them. If you got to this point, it's because something that you were doing is not amenable with you. So if we don't change that, nothing is going to change. So there's something that you're going to have to let go, or something that you're going to have to acquire or do. And if you are not committed to doing that, then it's possible that they can help you. There will not be full recovery. There will be palliation, but never full recovery. Okay.
Have you ever had to tell someone that you couldn't work with them anymore because they just weren't, like all they wanted was validation?
The quick fix.
Or did they just stop coming back to you?
Most people stop coming. I was a girl. She was coming. What about something I do, which is kind of, I call it karmology. It's kind of a yoga psychology, yoga Vedanta psychology. So she was coming regularly, and I warned her, and I told her, one day I'm gonna kick you out of here. And she started laughing, because as she was paying me, she would say, no, whatever. At one point I told her, if you don't, I didn't tell her not to come back, but I said, if you don't do anything that we say every week, then it's worthless that you're coming here. I have been listening to you for 3 months, and it's always the same story. And we always cover the same stuff, and you come back and you don't do anything. So you're wasting your mind. And she never came back. I don't think she's better. Or maybe she actually realized of what was going on with her and decided to confront it. And maybe she's doing much better. I don't know. But you can very compulsively tell a person, in order to work, we need a huge commitment from the person, and if that commitment is not possible right now, then maybe another type of medicine would be more efficient in this case, even if you know that nothing's going to be efficient. But you know, the things that they do,
Yeah.
and they will go from doctor to doctor for many years until they realize what it is. Okay. It doesn't have to be so harsh as, I'm sorry. Either you do it or you don't, you know what it is. No, you don't do that. I mean, you just keep trying and trying and trying. You change the dinacharya, you change the recommendations, you try to make it easier this way or easy that way. You try other things. I mean, you actually try. But at one point, there's nothing to do. Somebody says, Prajna Parada happens when one part of you insists on an action that is detrimental to the rest of you. That's very good. I think it says Boboda. Boboda cracks me up. I love it. Which is very true.
Yeah.
Which is very true. You know, it's just one desire
Yeah.
that is just destroying your whole being, you know? So it's very true. Sickness is reality coming to live with you. This is very interesting. You know what this means? Sickness is reality coming to live with you.
Who said that?
I think this one is a Bhagavatam. I'm not sure.
That's really interesting.
It means that what has happened is that you have gone astray from your path, from who you are, from your truth, from that alignment with divine will. And what's happening is that now reality taps you on the shoulder and says, hello, this is the real thing, not your mental, dreams or whatever you are. This is what's you. And now you have to come back and stay with it, as we were talking about before. And now you come to terms with, and then you're back into reality, your truth. If you want to call reality your truth. And then you go astray again, and then we will come back with any illness, and then you again come back with any illness. So that's how it works. So that's why we always welcome sickness, no matter what it is. Now go and explain it to your clients. Another thing we do, you talked about that, overeating. We eat, we're full, and then the cupcakes come, and boom, we go for it, and then we have indigestion. That's big prasna parada. Okay, we do it all the time. Watching by
I wasn't
movies.
full.
No, I wasn't full.
I wasn't full either.
So, how do we work prasna parada? How can we really work on prasna parada? As you can see, this is humongous.
Yeah.
This is humongous, and we all do it all the time. I invite you to see tomorrow how many times you commit prasna parada. In one day, you're going to be amazed. In a school, when I was in New Mexico, when we went through prasna parada, it became a joke. So every 5 minutes, somebody was telling another person prasna parada. So it was hilarious because in a week we said prasna parada like 1,000,000 times. You know, it was hilarious. Everything was prasna parada. We were in a restaurant eating, and then we look at the table and we look at this guy, you know, really big and whatever, and he would get the dessert. Prasna parada. It was prasna parada everywhere. It's amazing. It's monumental at this point. How do we stop this? How do we not to stop? Try to control this, minimize all this prasna parada.
Work on our mind, our
Mindfulness.
will, our will.
That's the word.
So mindful, yeah.
Mindfulness, 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 mindfulness. That's the only way we can work with prasna parada, with mindfulness. Mindfulness is the substance of spirituality and of happiness too. We may have a course here in mindfulness. I'm talking to the girls to see if we put it together.
That'd be wonderful.
8 weeks, 2 hours per week, and we go into mindfulness to see what mindfulness is. Beautiful, beautiful course. And then we try to reduce the 99% of the time that we spend in the mind to a percentage which is more normal for a human being, okay? Because that's what happens. We're always, always, always in the mind, no matter what we're doing. That's what creates this lack of understanding what we're doing or noticing what we're doing, and that's when we commit the sin against the intellect. Okay? So prasna parada is pretty much everything here. Okay? The third one, and final one, is parinama. Sometimes they call it kala parinama.
Effects of the season.
The effects of the season, kala in this case being time too. So in general, it would be the effect of time and seasonal variations. This is a no-brainer, even though we fight against it. Wherever there is a beginning, there must be an end. This is one of the rules of the universe. Okay? So whatever has been born has to die. So the effects of time will affect us and will cause disease. This is something that we can palliate, but we cannot stop. The best way of dealing with it is to go along with it. Is to know that your gray hair is signs of wisdom and not of ugliness. Okay? And your wrinkles are actually experiences along the path and all that. And that's how we deal mostly with this. Okay? When you're 83, you don't have to jump on a parachute from a plane because that is insane. You're going to break all both your knees and you're going to be a mess, you know, even though you did it and you're so happy about it. And you don't have to take Viagra every other week, you know, to have sex when you're 79 because you're not supposed to have sex at 79. This is trying to go against Kala Parinama. This is trying to go against Kala Parinama, which is making you even sicker. Because you cannot You cannot. As long as we are in this thing of space and time and patience, we cannot
What
fight
about the
time.
plastic surgery that
All the surgery we do
women subject themselves to?
and all the problems that it carries with it. One is addiction to surgery, that then ends up with people that look like coming out of a Star Trek movie or something, you know. All this is insane. It doesn't matter. I mean, hello, the beauty of a person, yeah, it's outside, it's inside too. I mean, you can look through images. So, Kala Parinama, it's just aging, for God's sake. It also has to do with, if we follow Dinacharya and Praticharya and Satvrita and all this, we're going to age very gracefully. We're going to age very gracefully. We meditate. Meditation is the biggest rejuvenation therapy. It's the elixir of life. It's what keeps us young. That's it. Beyond any other thing. Beyond any other thing. But doing Ayurveda, people that do Ayurveda for a long time, that actually do it. I took a friend of mine to my teacher in India, and he said, "Oh my God, how old is that woman?" I said, "Probably 52 or something." He says, "Oh my God, I don't even want to do Ayurveda because she looks like 70, you know." And she actually did. That was the worst thing that she actually did. Apparently, she worked like a mule and never did anything that she was preaching. I mean, whatever, you know, that's a problem. But she didn't look 52, she looked 72. And all these people were going to her and say, "Well, they say that Ayurveda is the art of rejuvenation, and that doesn't look like it, going to see her, you know." And that's a problem with a lot of doctors in India. You see them and there's no Ayurveda whatsoever. Yeah, they take a malaki every day, but that's not it. You know, there are other things they need to do. Seasonal influences is part of Parinama as well. The Ritucharya is part of Parinama. They try to balance out or counterbalance the effect of all these seasons and variations. Okay. But we're going to end up with the life cycles according to the doshas. Irrespectful of what we are, of our dosha, of our prakriti, the doshas show up in our lifetime as a life cycle. So when we are in childhood, kapha predominates. So we see that because it's the time of building up all the tissues, so we need kapha for that. We see that because kids are always full of mucus, no matter what. So it's a catch-22. But you see that mostly in the kapha kids, and you can tell when there is a kapha kid because they're the ones that are sick all the time, the ones that get the allergies all the time, unless they have a very bad diet. That's the other thing, okay? But normally the kapha kids are the ones that really suffer until they become teenagers or so, okay? Then from teenager time to around 50, 52 is the Pitta type of time of life. So that's when we have all the will and we start doing all these things and we project ourselves and we develop our personality. That's the anguish of the teenager, coming up with a personality that they don't have. And we want to understand a teenager. How the hell are you going to understand a teenager if that person still doesn't know who she is, you know? So we need to give them a space and time to grow and develop themselves. From 50, around 50 women go, and men too, we go into menopause, andropause. And this is a Pitta time, clearly. So here's where the Pittas suffer like crazy, some of them. For Vatas may have some problems, which are basically these like osteoporosis, osteopenia, dryness. That's more for the Vata types, okay? It's not so severe, okay? The Pitta is the one that has the hot flashes and the hormonal craziness and the estrogen going skyrocketing and all that. So that's when we see that Cepita type, the time of life. Okay, from the 50s until 60s, 70s, we go from Pitta to Vata. In traditional cultures, that would be the time when the father retires to the back of the house and allows the sons and daughters to run the business. And they acquire just like an advising role. Figure out, now we see people working until they are 87. I have a client, he's a lawyer, no, he's a public accountant. He's in his 70s and he comes to me and says, "Should I retire, Jesus?" And I said, "What are you doing? I'm still working. You have money, you have all the connections, what are you doing?" And I says, "Oh, yeah. Finally, we agreed that he was not going to take more clients. He was going to start letting go of some. He will die working. I mean, there's no way. And he's a sweet man and very intelligent, but just, I don't know, it's an attachment there for whatever reason. But look at that. He's been working all his life. He doesn't need to work, but he's still doing it. Shouldn't be that. Okay. And then we go after 70, 60, 70, we go into Vata time. And that's where the Vatas are going to suffer, because evidently the body starts deteriorating, losing all the liquids. So we can see, and for a Vata that doesn't have so much liquid in it to begin with, it's a very bad time. A lot of problems with constipation, with a lot of these things. Okay. So these are the cycles of life that we need to take into account as well when we treat people. So you don't treat a Pitta the same when they're 30 than when they're 72. 72, a Pitta person may have serious elimination problems. 30, that would be very, very weird that they have elimination problems. Okay. So then we can see the effect of Kalaparinam, basically. It's not that they have such a big problem, it's Kalaparinam just coming onto them. Okay. So this is the etiology of disease in Ayurveda. This one, reading everything here. Okay. All right. So this ends our lesson for today. Now, we have roughly an hour. So let's set this up really fast. I need somebody who is in enough imbalance so we can fix them up. You're sure you don't do any dinacharya, you don't...
Oh, I do all,
Then you're not the
But
type I want. I need somebody that doesn't do so much, that lives a life that it's not like everything we have explained right now, and then we can counsel or we can advise or we can suggest that person different things, not one that's doing everything. Who is the one here?
No one wants to admit it.
Oh, come on, we're gonna just tell you.
Oh my God.
Okay. And now, we have a volunteer here. Now we need a clinician. Who's gonna do it first? Okay.
Oh God.
Okay, cool.
So come here. I understand you have something with you that a protocol that you follow. Is that correct? That you were given and you were already doing things, seeing people with it, right? There's something that
But
we don't have it.
Runa Prataka, it's called.
I think that was the tongue diagnosis that I had to urine. Is that it?
Yeah.
That? This one? Or?
No, that's the question.
No, she took them back.
Yeah.
We have the questionnaire, but we really don't.
You have something clinical, practical, and
Yeah,
worksheet.
but we gave them back after we did that.
Yeah, we needed to take.
Remember when we...
Oh, you
Yeah,
did
that
what?
was looked at each
Oh,
other.
yeah. Oh, yeah, she took the rest.
Take them back.
Which one was it?
The one that
The
we were
one
just...
that we did the diagnosis of the eye.
When you were on our también.
Oh,
Menstrual
yeah.
cycle.
Yeah, the same.
No, she
I
took it
didn't
off.
even finish it.
Yeah, because it was
Yeah,
only
you
the four
left,
of us.
Yeah.
You left
Yeah, I
it.
left too. I had to go from
And we stayed just the four of us and we did a lot of stuff.
I know.
Okay, let's try.
Thank you for rubbing it in.
Let's see.
Yes.
No cupcake for you.
Thank God I don't like them.
So, can you give your seat to Ashley so they're together?
Yeah, let me go back to you.
So Ashley,
Hi.
so Erica just came to you and you introduce yourselves. And now we start this session. Okay? One. So how would you start? What would be the first thing you ask her? What do you need from her first of all?
I first asked why she's here, like what it is that she's looking to.
Before we go into that, guys, we need to know some. Exactly. We need to know some personal information for our record. So basically, what we need is the name. No, the name first. Full name. Full name. We need to know the date of birth. Date of birth.
They should say.
26, May 8th, or tomorrow.
We need to know what else. Date of birth. What is next?
Age, place of
That
birth.
comes from the
Uh,
place of
yeah.
birth. Why place of birth?
Because depends where she lives, where seasons. Right.
Where she was born and where she was raised.
Were you born here and raised here?
So a PITA person born and raised in Miami will have less problems with this weather than a person that was born and raised in New England and then moved here when they were 27 years old.
Okay.
So we need to know that. And there are people that at this point they will tell you that their father was in the oil company or in or an ambassador or whatever, and they lived all over the world, which already can tell you that there are going to be problems. Okay? Because there's no but appreciation and problems with sometimes problems with belonging to a place. There's no roots. Stability. There's no roots. First chakra wasn't nurtured as a kid. So we keep that in mind. And then when they came to where we are right now, so that's your current address basically, where do you live? I live in Davie, okay. And how long have you been there? So that will tell us if they have had time to adapt to this weather or this thing, or they just came here and they're having a very hard time because of the change of weather and culture and diet. What else? We still need more information. How are you gonna?
Weight and height.
Yes. Weight and height
Height is 5'8".
is
And
important.
weight, last time I took on a scale of 198.
We need to know ways of communicating with them. What do we need to ask?
Over language.
No, not the language. You need to talk to them. You need to.
Phone number,
Oh.
email address.
Phone number and these days email address. I never give my clients anything on the spot.
You never give
I never give them
Like
any.
your information.
No. Any recommendations like a sheet, here is what you have to do.
Oh.
But this is my case, other people do that. I always tell them that I'm going to send them everything by email. Normally the following day or 2 days later, for example, this week, people that I saw on Friday or Thursday, I told them that I cannot do anything until Monday because I was going to be here. So, and they understand, there's no problem. But you tell them what's going to happen, and then you send, that's how it works.
Why do you do it that way? Because do you like go home and kind of review it and think about it more?
I create the formulas many times, so I like to look at the whole picture of what's going on, so I can address everything that I see there and think about it, okay? And also I want some time to work on recommendations instead of just rushing to
That makes sense.
it makes, you devote more time to them than the hour and a half that you offer them. Some of them, they're easier consultations, so you can do it as you go through it, and you can email them later when they leave. That's possible too. Mostly if they don't need like a formula, or you can pick up something from Benny or something like that. It's already good what they have. Okay. We need to know what else about these people. We need to know how they spend their whole day.
Yeah.
What they
Work, what's their occupation, because that will tell us personality, that will tell us levels of stress. You can ask about the level of stress at this point. Okay. You can ask them if you like their job, if you see that they're not very happy about it. So that will tell you that might be the problem that we're going to face big time these days. We need to know relationships. Married, divorced, widow, separated, in a relationship, single. How many kids? Ages of kids, which will tell us if they still are under stress at home, if they have like 3 small kids. Sometimes I joke with moms. I think I'm joking, I'm not joking. They say, oh, I have two boys. I say, how are they? Oh, one is the other's 29 and the other's 25. And then I say something like, oh, okay, so you just got rid of them, you're done. And they go like, oh, no, I call them up all the time and I cook for them sometimes, and or the younger one is still living with me, so you start seeing the patterns, Start seeing, okay, this is a controller. This has the mom syndrome. This has the whatever, and then you start seeing where the stress is coming from. This woman I was telling you about, no, they're all the way, but these days with the phone, it's so easy to know what they're doing, and all the time I'm seeing what they're doing, what they're not doing. Hello. And they tell me, hey, mom, I'm 22, you have to stop doing this, checking on me all the time. Hey, you see pattern behavior, pure stress. Pure stress. Vata. And Pitta controlling too. Vata pushing Pitta. You see? All information is... This is a Sherlock Holmes kind of thing on your face, like Sherlock Holmes going into stuff. So, this is what I ask for. Some Rugna Patrikams, they go at length. I don't want to bore my clients with a million questions like if I go to the doctor. Okay? This is what I need. This is basic. And then we start.
So, what brings you here today?
I have no idea.
Are there anything physical, emotional that you're dealing with that?
Yeah, I guess I'm dealing with the stress, maybe because of work. I don't feel like I'm working enough, which I really am, but I feel like I'm not. I can tell you, like, when I came from my consultation with I was because I was broken out. I had a really bad I don't know, it was just like, it started off as a rash, and then my skin looked like if it was burnt. I had gone to one of the top or #1 dermatologists here in South Florida.